Information is vital. Stay tuned. Be enlightened. Be encouraged.
Hello again, Dr. Jim Carlson, Ultimate Wellness, my mini-cast, me and Mr. Bones, fighting the medical profession. I'm talking to you, American Heart Association. I'm talking to you, American Diabetes Association. I'm talking to you, American Cancer Society. And there's so many other organizations that are ignorant, I don't have enough time in my segments to mention you. But I'm coming after you as well. Okay, in front of me. These are the segments, by the way, I'm talking about things that you shouldn't be eating. I don't really think this is going to come as much of a shock to people, but I have chocolate milk here. There's a fat-free, I think there's a fat-free and a reduced fat. Well, I don't think I'm going to get too many arguments about chocolate milk, but this is just a perfect example of how they made an already bad product worse. You see, when you're drinking chocolate milk, if you're going to drink it, you're better off drinking the chocolate milk that has the most fat in it. So by doing reduced fat, by doing no fat, you're actually making the product worse. Remember, eating fat, cholesterol, and protein is safe. Eating carbohydrates is dangerous. This is the message me and Mr. Bones are trying to convey. It's interesting because if you want to fatten up Mr. Bones, you want to feed him carbohydrates. So all the foods that I've mentioned through these segments and all are the foods that Mr. Bones should eat to fatten himself up. But here's the problem. When he consumes these foods, assuming he had arteries and veins, he'd clog his arteries. He'd clog his arteries. These things are dangerous to eat. Just out of curiosity, let me just mention, or look for myself, this is fat-free, this is reduced fat, and it's really interesting because they have about the same amount of carbohydrates. This is 29 grams for the fat-free. This was 30 grams for the reduced fat. And it's interesting because you'll want the fat in the product. The more fat in the product, the healthier it is. Dietary myths. You know, a lot of you may have seen my dietary myth segments. Dietary myth number 1, eating fat makes us fat. Wrong. Eating fat doesn't make us fat so long we're not overeating carbohydrates along with that fat. Dietary myth number 2, that the consumption of saturated fat and cholesterol-containing foods causes heart disease. That's false. Not only is it false, but when you eat more fat and cholesterol-containing foods, you lower your risk for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and many other medical problems. Third dietary myth, the calorie means something in human nutrition. Stop thinking the calorie means something in human nutrition. It does not. Calories mean nothing. Don't use them, don't count them. The term calorie, you know, on my earlier segments, you know, a calorie is a quantitative heat chemist tool to determine how much heat is given off when we burn something. It's a combustion process. Stop adhering to the calorie. Stop adhering to the calorie. Just this past week, there's a lot of a buzz about us changing the food label, but we're still focused on the wrong thing. We're still focused on thinking that fats are bad for us, that the calorie means something. We're not going to make any progress until we change the food labeling. I've been talking about reluctance to change in most of these segments, reluctance to change. Well, the reluctance to change is built right into 2 things that I can think right off the top of my head. The food labeling, that has to change. We need to get rid of the calories, and we need to start showing you that products have more fat and more cholesterol, and that's good. And another thing that comes to mind, which most listeners, viewers will know, the food pyramid. The food pyramid has to change as well. And until we change the food pyramid, ain't nothing going to happen. Now, let me just point again to the reluctance of medicine to change. The reluctance of medicine to change. For hundreds of years, we used heavy metals to treat many different diseases. Mercury, we touted the curative powers of mercury. And for hundreds of years, we used it to try to cure just about everything. You fell down, got a scrape in your knee? Mercury. You got a cough? Mercury. You can't see straight? Mercury. You're hearing voices? It's because of the mercury, okay? Stop using the mercury. Many people lost their lives using mercury as a treatment, and for hundreds of years it was still continued to be endorsed by the medical profession. And, you know, I want to end this segment by talking again about stupid medical studies where we're wasting our money studying things that are obvious, okay? A study showed that caffeine and sleeplessness was linked in teenagers. That caffeine and sleeplessness was linked in teenagers. The study went on to say that teenagers who drank more caffeine couldn't sleep. Wow, call the press, you know? Really? Are you serious? Let's stop wasting our money, and you know what I'm going to say. This is Dr. Carlson, me and Bones. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Until next time, be enlightened, be encouraged.